Perfect. So, blind spots, episode 8,
8 of them
2 months
things.
in. So sixth of the year. The time is non-existent. It just keeps going. It doesn't ever stop. It moves on without you. Um, a lot
Yeah, shit flew for
more
sure.
this week than last week. A lot more eventful stuff this week than last week. But as we start, typically, how was the overall week?
Week's been good. Yeah, I'm having some daddy things going on. Honey is she's like entering her terrible twos. So she's now at the phase where everything is no.
I was gonna say the
Um,
nose.
and she means it. Like it's not just a cool word to say. She's literally just like I'm not doing it. So
She's putting
that's
to the. She not only says the word, she knows exactly what this means.
yeah. So that's been interesting and trying to like navigate that because it's like so I have really like emotive eyebrows and she gets that from me. Like mom doesn't have any of that. Like she does like I'm the facial expression person in the family. So she says no and it's like the like when she's upset, they are angry eyebrows. They're like so generally you don't really have to ask like what's wrong or like how are you feeling because she will tell you with her face.
Of course.
So that's been interesting. Now we're also trying to figure out how to. She had like eczema, so we're trying to like work around that. Going gluten free. But she wants she wants the regular food at daycare, so
Macaroni and cheese.
it's like, all right, well, this is what we're doing. So, yeah, we're here. We're here. We are in the thick of parenting. We're at that halfway mark now where like it's like terrible twos, and I think another year and a half from now she'll be out of it. But yeah, here we go. It's getting real.
One of my favorite things about seeing kids grow up, though it could be a blessing and a curse, is
uh,
seeing. And I have five younger brothers, so I saw this a bunch. Seeing their personalities shape. That's always a pretty cool thing to see. Even though it may be
yeah,
like there's negatives to it and there's positives, but the fact that they're able to like now like articulate themselves versus just like throwing a fit,
yeah,
that
yeah.
that to me is pretty decent because before you just like were guessing, and now she's kind of telling you whether it's verbally or non-verbally, like this is exactly how I'm feeling, and you are now learning how to navigate that, which is an adventure in
Ooh.
itself. That's always
Yeah,
great.
and then working in elementary school too, on top of like having to deal with like kids who can talk and express their attitudes who like be little assholes. um, yeah, coming home and then my kid is like, no, I'm like gotta remind myself it's different mode. It's different mode. I'm dad now. I'm not Mr. Hughes anymore. I'm dad. But yeah, how about you?
Until
How was your
until
week?
until she until she finds out your actual name, then starts calling you it. So there's that. Um,
Right.
but 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 my week, um, healing from my ankle. I never rolled my ankle this bad. I still got some little tweaks. I was at the chiropractor today. I'm getting adjusted. He always likes like when I go on my side and he wraps my arms up before
Yeah.
he jumps on top of me. He like pulls my leg straight and he pulled my left foot and I was
And it
like,
was
oh, it's still a little tender. Able to run on it though. So back in the marathon training.
good.
That's cool. Went to some event. This woman, have you ever heard of that show, The Kitchen on Food Network? You've probably seen clips from it.
Hmm.
But it's got a bunch of these people. I think Sunny Anderson's on it, black lady with big curly hair, and then there's
Right.
this really thin white woman. Her name is Katie Lee Bagel or Beigel. She was the one. She went viral in our community for putting like vegetables in the macaroni. She like blended it up in the
Yeah,
sauce
I
or
know what you're talking
something.
about. Right. Right.
So that smaller white woman. The event was hers.
Oh,
With
okay. Bet.
Cooper Talk. So she was at Armature Works, and it was a collaboration, and they did a dinner. So we got invited to it, of course. So wine pairing thing. The food was cool. I actually had a dinner that I was invited to earlier this year, and I
All right.
hate comparing shit, but after that dinner, I look at these wine dinners so much different because that one was just immaculate.
All
Nothing
right.
reaches it. And then think outside of those two things, uh, that's it. I gotta get some clothes for some event tomorrow that we got some stand up Orlando Jones at the Ebor uh improv that someone just gave Alex
Poss-
tickets to. So
you said
gotta
Orlando
figure out.
Jones, and I've been in like this ratchet TV mode, and I thought you said I was in my head popped up Orlando Brown and Bad Boys, Texas, and I was like, oh, Orlando Brown, are they
Is
shooting
that the
Bad
one
Boys?
where when he was getting held and he looked like he didn't want to be there? He was like drunk and he was like, it's this is what's funny about that. So
Shout out
any
Zeus
person
Network.
with any person with Jones or Brown last name, because those are Alex's parents' last names. Now they got married, so they're together. But her dad's last name was Jones, her mom's last name was
Right.
Brown. She's from Orlando, so I mess this up often. So Jones and Brown,
Got you.
it gets mixed up often. And then everyone with those last names are her cousins. So you could see a white Jones, Tommy Lee Jones is on TV, and there goes your cousin. Um, so uh, so yeah, that's her. But yeah, that's pretty much so far so good.
Are
Good
so
stuff.
good.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Real quick, one thing. It's really like I don't know. It was dope to me. I'm a big movie buff, so we took Honey to her first movie this weekend. It was a long Saturday, but she did her first movie. She was quiet the whole time. She ate all the popcorn. I felt bad about that. I was like, damn, that's a lot of sodium for a baby. But yeah, she was cool. She enjoyed Super Mario Bros. So it worked.
Small
yeah,
wins. But another buddy of
yeah,
mine, I think his kid is 3, and I sent him a message. We don't talk very often, but this is how our relationship is. And I sent him a message responding to something. I said, how your kid doing? And he sent me a screenshot back of his kid pants to the floor, pissing in the toilet. And I was like, yes, fucking small wins or big wins.
okay,
Shit. Yeah,
yeah,
so it's always super cool to hear about that. He seemed pretty geeked, and he's never really too high, never too low. Um,
yeah.
and this guy was like a loose cannon, and so like I felt like the kid came right at the right time, like he was about to really go over the deep end, and so
Eat
now
'em.
it slowed him down. He's also one of those friends that you might have, and this is when I get like kind of sad about shit. Like it's like they don't know how to ask for help, but
Mm,
like they just kind of show it in their actions. Like I remember he lived in Miami, and he doesn't, like I said, we don't talk often, but every so often, and he sent me a message, and he was like, "Yo, you should fall through. You should kick it." And since he doesn't message me so much, I know what that really meant. It was like, please come down to Miami. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, I know he's around people that just probably want to be around him for a certain reason. And he knows that back home it was different stuff. So I went down there one
right.
time. I got another friend. I spent one half of the day with one friend, spent the rest of the evening in the middle of the night. The other guy, he was into this is before his kid. So he's like, club club hopping, drinking,
Right.
fucking booby trap. That was a long night. I
Yeah.
actually talked about that on my other podcast before, and so then I left. I remember driving home. I was still drunk from the night
I
before.
think I remember that story. I think I
Yeah,
remember that story.
4.5 hour drive, and then Alex's parents were there. Well, her mom came, and they were going to go to brunch, and so I'm running on maybe an hour or two of sleep. And I just like, you know what? I'm gonna go in this back. I got home around 10 or 11. They went to brunch. I slept all the way till like 6. And
Amazing.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah,
Great
sad
times.
stuff. Um real quick before we get into any of the other stuff. Actually it's I guess this is kind of on there. Because I was talking about things that made me sad, and I tweeted about this earlier. Dillon Brooks. It was funny at first,
Yeah.
and now like the other day I was driving and I just felt bad. I was like, you know what? This guy's probably never gonna play in the NBA again. All
Either
because he was like extra passionate. And I know where people are gonna say is like, man, you probably shouldn't have went too far. But like we love that to some extent. Like we love it. He maybe
yeah.
went a little too far, but
The
don't let me
issue
go
with
too far.
the issue with Dillon Brooks, to me, the only issue with Dillon Brooks is not him trash talking or poking the bear or whatever. It's not that. It's just that he didn't show up for the media availability afterwards. So like, if
That's
you
the
do
worst
all
part.
that, if you do all that talking, you should also be able to like be like, you know what, hey, got to give it up to them boys. You know what I'm saying? Or man, it's a fluke. Whatever you got to say, just talk. Like whatever it is, even if you can put some like bullshit heel spin on it, do something. Just talk. Like because as great as his I guess fall has been, he was building that character up, man. He spent like the better part of the season building that character up. It just for it to like fall like this is like I'm like, damn, man, I really thought we had a new villain in the
Yeah,
NBA. I thought we had one. I was looking forward to
yeah.
it because I'm like, okay, he'll never, average 20 or whatever. But I used to love Deshaun Stevenson. I used to love Lance, all the Stevensons. Yeah,
But
all those guys that go at LeBron and seem to have some sort of effect on him, and where either he has a meltdown and only scores 20, or he ends up dropping 35 on their head. Like whatever it is, they seem to bring something out of LeBron, but it's always entertaining. Um, and of course they got their own highlight reels, like his whole intro shit, like the AB, like it's just like you hate to see a guy go out like that. But very nasty work by the Memphis though. It's like I don't know why you guys would say something like that, or even, and maybe it's just a loose lip, scout or whoever that works for them. But
dude, I
nah,
will tell you
it's
this from my experience with just sports media,
mm,
the only reason this information got out is because somebody wanted it to get out. So
and
so that's when it's like, all right, this was intentional. I don't care if they say it was a leak. Like we know how these things work.
right.
Um, and it's yeah. So what that tells me personally is like they've been probably bumping heads, and
All year.
now they were just they kind of fed up. And I guess I don't know how true this is, but somebody told me that he got offered a deal already, and he bet it on himself. And we never really talk about the times where people bet on themselves and like crap out. We always like love to talk the stories about when people bet on themselves and then go crazy. But this guy was fucking snake eyes or whatever that shit is, and
He definitely won't be on a contender because I think he's pissed all of them off, and
yeah.
maybe there will be somebody that maybe takes a chance and is like, you know what, let's shake this shit up, let's see what we can do. I would love for him to be on the Warriors, honestly, and like I don't know if they do that. I don't know if I know there's like people that mentor, but I want Draymond Green to mentor Dillon Brooks on how to be that role, like in an effective way, like because who's the next after Dre? Is PJ Tucker, who's like the same age or
No,
older?
you know, it's so
It's
funny you
like,
mentioned PJ because I was thinking he's gonna have to go overseas like PJ, learn how to be a pro, and then come back and be a 3 and D guy, and then play for 16 years
but
because
he's but
that's how.
he's what 5 6 years in his career already.
Yeah, that
So
I mean
it's like,
PJ's was similar. I think
right,
it was 3 or 4. And but because
but
he
PJ
has a
had to the
really good
college
story.
tip.
Yeah, he had a really good story on JJ's podcast and I like PJ because he's from Raleigh and I got family that way. So, but I wouldn't mind to see him get down there with Pat in Miami. Like if we could take a flyer on him for 1 year or something, like something cheap. Pat's gonna get him in shape. Pat's gonna cut all that bullshit out. Spo gonna
Hey,
get them running, and then if he can just play defense
do
and
do that role on the court. Just leave it on everything on the court. Like you say, he gets
and
into that
Pat
system.
and Pat not gonna play that shit with you not talking to the media. Like you're gonna
Right.
have to talk to the media. So that's just and that to me is the sad part because like you said, honestly, it's not in the NBA. It's like, and I hated this because it's going back to like Giannis and stuff. But it was like it ain't really no failure. Like it is. Like you obviously lost, but like if if you just
Come on.
we're okay with the egg on the face. Like if you get the egg on the face, it's like, look, it's LeBron. You don't get, like, did you actually think that you were gonna
We
stop
didn't think
him?
you were
Like,
gonna win, bro. We didn't think you were
so
gonna win,
this
bro.
is what we expected. So if you go in there like, yeah, you know what? Shout out to them boys. You know that should, like Ryan Garcia did. He's like, hey, Tank caught me, and
That shit was nasty.
he was a better man than me today. And and then they're friendly. They take pictures. They exchange numbers, and it's like,
That's
hey,
all it's gotta
this
be.
is how this is how this, and that's how normally it goes. So yeah, it got
I wouldn't
sad
be mad.
fast.
I wouldn't be mad at him on a LeBron team. Like all of LeBron's villains make decent teammates.
Oh yeah,
um, so bring him like it's not that he doesn't fulfill he doesn't have a purpose in the league. It's just that like yeah, like once you do that whole, it's like what's the Jay-Z lyric? That's him. I'm usually who they whisper out. He said the tough guy disappear and the bitch come out. It's like you doing all that talking and then ducking the media. And you duck white guys for what? They're not gonna press you with any question. Like, what are you doing? Like, come on, dude. But that's really it. Hopefully he lands. Did you see the Bucks are skipping the exit interviews? There's no exit interviews
that
for the Bucks. I guess
must
Giannis.
mean that Bud might be on his way out.
I
Bud
guess
might be
so.
on his way out because he
Yeah,
already had
when
the
you have
hot seat.
timeouts, you call them.
Something about Bud, like, honestly, Bud has been known to not make adjustments. And when you got Giannis, maybe you don't have to make adjustments. But Spo is just a coach. He just does
Hey,
it. He is he's the exact opposite. He will make
Spo
adjustments
was
from quarter to quarter,
Spo is
from
nasty
half
with it,
to
man.
half.
He's a
Like he
tactician.
just
Like
the fact that what he's doing to the Knicks right now, like we should have
like
really won game two. We should have really
it's
taken
like
it.
it's like. Do you like realize like y'all like I forgot what it was. Y'all played seven undrafted players. Like
Nuts.
what are we
I
like?
think
What's going on? Y'all didn't
highest
have
draft pick,
Jimmy.
highest draft pick is doesn't even play right now. The rookie and
This
Jimmy,
is
like everybody is a second round pick or undrafted or G
Jimmy and
League
Tyler
or
are out. Like what? Kyle is old. Bam is like not. Why is the game close? What is going on? Smolstra
on the
is
road. On
on
the road
the road in
in
MSG.
MSG. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
yeah, no.
no,
Smolstra is like they and he don't have the chips yet, but that man is like on some Popovich shit. Like it's like nah,
yeah.
bro. You got to give it up to that man because I don't know how he's pulling this shit off right now.
Yeah, hopefully, because I felt for Jimmy because I rolled my ankle recently, and it's like Jalen Rose mentioned he's like, look, you might as well send him back to Miami, get treatment around the clock because he can get
Yeah.
ready for Game 3. Maybe he can get out there. It was encouraging to see in his stories he was walking around New York, seemed to be not limping. Obviously, that's not basketball, but he was walking. He wasn't in a boot. He was at Kiss with Ronnie doing his thing, stomping. So I was like, okay, he seems to be decent. Hopefully, maybe one more game he sits. Hopefully not. But fuck the Knicks. Love MSG though. Love
Forever
MSG.
and
It's
always.
it's a beautiful arena. Love the Oregons. The food is really good there. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. Ironically enough, maybe you could throw this in there. There's a 5 pound glizzy that they sell in MSG for $35. It's like a baby arm. It's like the whole joint, and it's fully loaded. And I was like, it was crazy. It was kind of sick looking. So shout out
I,
to
I understand
MSG niggas
why
over
they
there.
are like yeah, like I get why they have to do the whole like Ayo shit. I completely understand. It's like what are y'all doing up there, man? It doesn't make any sense.
When I saw the hot dog and the woman tried to take a bite of it, I was like, why though? Like, I don't.
How
What's
you,
the? Were you supposed to
how you doing
split
that?
this with a bunch of people? This feels weird.
Feeds
Anyway,
eight.
yeah. Yikes. So let's see what next. Villains, because there's a lot of villains on this list. Brian McKnight, he's when I saw him trending, I thought he put out music and it wasn't quite that. It wasn't that. So
Yeah, man.
when did he tell y'all? When did he tell them that he could show them how that pussy worked? Because when that happened, that's when I knew the nigga was
Fuck.
on the down low.
Yeah. The fuck's going on with this guy? Yeah, definitely. I bet you didn't know it could squirt. I remember that. That had to be at least, that was almost 10 years ago. I would assume that's like top of social media, Twitter ages. Like it's recent, not that recent. Like, but yeah, that was one of those first, like, this is the
I'm
started
telling
back
you,
at one
Sal.
nigga.
Yeah,
Same nigga.
it's
Yeah.
different.
Outside of being like a, I guess a non. Well, I won't even put that on him. He's already bad enough. I won't put that on him. But just being a guy who likes to tell women how their bodies works, uh, he's a bad dad. He doesn't take care of his kids. He has two, and I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with having two juniors. Um, I think that it could cause problems. I see where the issue could lie. But as somebody like my name is slightly different from my dad's name. So if I named my kid how my dad named me, he would be my dad's like actual junior because me and my dad had the same name, but we have different middle names.
Of
Um,
course.
but so the whole time we've never done the junior thing. If I
Or
name
the second.
him, yeah, we've never done it. If I name him the exact way he named me, which is same first name, of course, same last name, with my grandfather's middle, like my grandfather's name is my middle name, then he would be, his exact like junior. Um, I would then also want one for myself, and then name somebody that is my exact name. So
Mm,
yeah, I've never seen. I haven't really seen it. It's just in theory. I'm pretty sure my wife wouldn't go for it, but I don't really see anything inherently wrong with it. And that's also talking about two kids that would be living in the same household with the same name, which would cause its own problems. But that's very different from having a white kid and a black kid with the same name, or a mixed kid and a black kid with a black mom with your name, kid with the white mom with your name. You're not on speaking terms with the black one. You are, uh, you know, just in love with the one with the white woman. I don't understand how these things work. I don't understand how you can rationalize these things. He said that he didn't want the kid. Is this a time to have conversations about legalizing abortions or like trying to make better decisions? I don't know. Like, where's the angle for the conversation? He's a piece of shit. I don't know. He doesn't take care of his kids. Like, now, do we say, did he communicate with the woman that he didn't want the kid? And then the woman was like, "Hey, I'm having a kid." Like, like that's where now I'm trying to have the conversation at, or like where I'm trying to figure out how bad is he really?
yeah,
Like,
because
he doesn't
if
take
he
care of
said
his
all
kids.
this,
Bad.
up front, if he said all this up front, then it's like, okay, well, yeah,
Now, now
I don't
and it's
understand.
like I will never judge you. I will never judge anybody for not making the decision like that, because that takes a different toll on women's bodies. Pregnancy is already hard enough. Terminating a
Black
pregnancy is,
pregnancies.
yeah, it's like it's there's so much that goes along with like even the successful full term pregnancies, that it's like I completely understand why a woman would be like, absolutely not. On top of whatever factors, that's just the health reasons. Um, but yeah, that's the time where it's like, well, Brian, if you've been so transparent in your love for your children, and your disdain for your others, let us know what really happened. Like, what's the real, what's actually going on here? Did you never want these kids at all? Did you like what like was it like, not that it makes anything any better, but it provides a little bit of nuance where it's like, he's still a piece of shit because you got these kids, you need to take care of them regardless whether you want them or not. Take care of your kids. But it's like, okay, now we can have a different conversation, or now we can be like, okay, well, honestly, he ain't never been there. You can't, not gonna say you can't miss what you've never had or what you never known, but it does provide a little bit more of a, like, I guess, well-rounded view where it's not all like, oh, well, Brian McKnight's just a piece of shit. Like, of course he is. He doesn't take care of his kids, but what else is going on here? There has to be something else other than just I was madly in love with this woman. I did all this blah 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 blah, and I skated. Like, was he ever around? Was he blah blah blah? Did they ever know this man? What's going on? And I don't think that's the only thing where it's like it's kind of hard to get a real read on it. We know he's a bad guy, but what more is there to say other than just he's a bad guy? There's got to be something else, right? It has to be.
He's an ill nigga because I honestly never even. Twitter is such a special place because I don't ever care about things, and sometimes it misses my radar where it's like, man, am I supposed to be caring about it? Now I know I'm not supposed to care about this. I will say this though, the fact that niggas found this shit to me is fascinating because I don't know when the last time I personally thought about Brian McKnight. I don't know if I have any in my iTunes. Maybe if I click on a particular uh, playlist, maybe it would play. I don't know, but the fact that when I hear about him after not hearing about him for quite some time, and it's just him just doing just the wildest shit, the absolute wildest, like saying the most outlandish shit, just being just a heel. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
know,
something
bad
about
guys. You know who else is a bad guy around this, like kind of around the same, about the same topic? And this is kind of why I was like, I'm not mad at him, so I guess I can't be really too mad at this guy. Jackie Chan has a kid like that, where he just doesn't take care of his kid. He's like, I never wanted you to, like, had a kid. It's kind of different, I guess. He like cheated on his wife and had a kid, and
it.
he just never took care of her.
Hey,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah. So
Hey,
yeah,
baby. You want you want
shout out to the
you
you
wait.
know, Wade County. But yeah, so it's just like one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'm still watching Rush Hour. I don't really listen to Brian McKnight. It would be like dishonest for me to be like, yeah, fuck Brian McKnight. We ain't listening to we off Brian McKnight. Like I've never been on Brian McKnight, so I don't really, if he's just a weirdo, he's just a weirdo. I don't know. Do what you
And
will with that information.
I don't know if that's cancelable. Because
Yeah, it's like,
niggas
you know,
niggas been bad dads before. I don't know if
Baghdad.
that's yeah.
It's a
That's
bad dad.
probably why his music was alright, man. This nigga had to be focused. He was focused on some other shit. Clearly, he
I
couldn't
can't do this.
multitask.
We see it.
Yeah,
We see
so
it. He starts back at one.
shout out to him. Or whatever, his new children, I guess. Whatever.
Hooray, babies! What does Dr. Umar say at a time like this?
Omar throws me off, man, because he will, and I guess this will bring into the next shit, because he'll throw me off because he's like totally against like dating white women, but somehow Kanye does wild shit and is like, we're behind Kanye. It's like, bro, okay, like,
Uh, you know,
like,
honestly, what I think that is, remember when he first went, I guess, right? When he first started doing the Trump support shit, and T.I. was trying to get at him, and Diddy was trying to get at him, and it was like, we cannot afford to lose Kanye West. I think now we're all like off of it. It's weird. Umar was like, I'll pick him up. Just like, no, like, what the hell? Like, no, we're done. He's cut off. Time out, Kanye. But yeah,
it threw me completely off. Like, Umar, this is the one where you're like ready to pile on. Like, this is it.
he
It's
had
like you're
another
getting
chance.
everything that and he's like, "Nah, we gonna put on our back." But I guess he's got more chances, 300 chances, and you said that he resurfaced, and then I sent you a message, and I said, "Is this what the resurface was?" And you're like, "This is not what it was, but I guess this is what it was." Pops
Yeah.
up at the Hollywood Bowl, just so
Hmm.
upset that I wasn't able to go. Pops up the Hollywood Bowl, then pops up with the new Yeezy stuff, which
Uh
wasn't Yeezy stuff; it was a T-shirt. One size fits
huh.
all.
Yeah. Little baby tube
Apparently
top.
the yeah, apparently the quality of the shirt is good, which I'm a big fan of good quality white t-shirts. If you guys are ever looking for one, buy the Supima cotton one from Uniqlo. It is actually H&M has a really good t-shirt as well as Gap. They have good cheap white t-shirts. So there's that. And Pusha T co-signs the Uniqlo one too as well. So he's rich, so he buys
Hmm.
whatever t-shirt he likes. But the t-shirt came out. It looked like a cult gathering because it was white wax candles in a dark room, and it was right next to Adidas store in LA.
Never thought I was a
Um,
flex. Flex.
so shout out to Ye and the new shit. It was a
Yeah.
t-shirt, so I don't really have much to say about that. Um, hopefully everybody left with one. I guess so it was free. I believe he gave away free shirts.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hopefully he can just, be quiet. Just let the product speak. That's all I would say. Just let the product speak. Good product will cover a multitude of sins. If you just let the product speak and just shut up, we will move on from your wild comments. Like,
stay low
you'll
and
be okay.
build. Stay low and build. That's
Bingo.
all.
Bingo. That's all it is. So, welcome back, Mr. Yay. I'm glad because that first, when he first popped up, I was like, ah, shit. I was like, he looked like he back on, like he ready to start some shit again. But now
Yeah,
he,
shorty
he
in a
popped up.
gimp suit.
Yeah, and you know what's wild is he was actually like, she was in her gift suit. He had his shit on with the shits in all the He was doing his normal shit, like vibing out. And then
Crazy.
the next photo was like him, just like, what's going on, bro? He got on like he was doing that hobo shit that he does. I was concerned if he was, you know, he always talks about how his dad used to live in homeless shelters, like doing like journalistic work or whatever. So I was wondering, I was like, man, is he doing this type of thing again? Is like, is this what he on? But he seems fine. So, high five. Welcome back. Nice to see you,
Yeah.
buddy.
Yeah, hopefully he puts out some dope stuff. I mean, I wouldn't mind it if it looked good. I mean, I'm all about things that look good and good prices. So if it's good prices and it looks good, I'm all for it. So yeah, I don't think it's really a much to say about that outside of it just looks nut like every everything that Kanye that surrounds it. It just be looking nuts, and it's like,
Yeah.
man,
Post
like I'm one
post
of those guys where
Life of Pablo. It's all been culty.
I'm one of those guys where it's like, look, I'm really into like really nice things and fashion and all that stuff, but like not to where it gets like not only feels like you're patronizing me, like come on guys, it's not always that dope, and then sometimes you could just give it to me, like it doesn't have to be packaged a certain way. Like I'm
Hey,
already gonna give you um you already have cachet built up with me from like all the other dope things you've done. Like you don't have to like surround it in a weird way. Like just do what you've been doing, and I'll I'll look at it as soon as you start making it where it's like
it,
the pretentiousness, like with like I gotta line up and like the shit with Gap. Like the Gap shit was dope, but it's like I gotta go in the store and dig it out of a bag and
that's a
like
nice
it helps.
installation. That's a nice installation. It's not cool for you to actually set the shit up like that. That's cool for the launch, and it's just like, oh, how interesting. It's not cool for the damn. This is how we got to shop this shit for real. Mm-mm. No, sir. And people were actually going for it. I can't do it. That seems a little bit Zoolanderish for me. That's a little bit too
Yeah,
far. That's now where I'm like you said, patronizing. It's like, we're making a mockery out of this right now. I don't want to participate in this because I feel stupid. It's not this
and
deep for me at all.
it was dope already. It was dope. Like you
Yeah,
didn't have to do that. Like I
I
thought the
I
Gap
would have
shit
went
was
in
extra
there,
dope.
and honestly, I would have got it because that's probably the only time I could have got like a size small and been all right, like with the fit. I would have been
It
cool.
would have been.
I just would have been fine. It's a one time in my adult life where I can get into a small. Really, the one time
I
since
had
I've like I've been wearing huskies since I was like 10. So it's
I
a
have a
time in a
I
long
have a
time I can get
fit.
a small.
a Fear God jacket that they collabed with Nike, and it's literally a size medium. It's a bomber, and it's a size medium, and it feels like an extra large. I'm like, how did y'all size this? Like,
What y'all doing?
I don't even know what are we doing. But like, I'm not a small guy, so the fact that a medium, I don't remember the last time I wore a medium. Maybe when I was like 12. So it's like,
Right.
this is a medium Nike. Fear God Adidas shit's coming out soon, so that should be pretty cool. Hopefully, fall we
Looking
get
good.
that. There
Looking
was
good.
something else. It was because we were talking about shopping experiences. Mugler H&M that is coming out in 2 weeks. So, ladies, get your body suits and your cat suits
Hey,
because
they
I
actually
always
dropped
say
some like catalog stuff too. Like it's like stuff from like the archives too. So I don't
if
like it.
you if
Go ahead.
when they want to when they get sexy, they call Mugler, and that installation in the Brooklyn Museum,
Hmm.
seeing all the stuff with the booties out and even the guys with their shit
Speaking
out,
of
and I'm like, okay, oh, yeah,
speaking of booties out, how about that Met Gala? How about, how about Janelle Monáe? Hey, that seems like some shit that like you would read about like Eartha Kitt at parties or some shit like that. That's like not some shit I'm supposed to see. I'm supposed to hear about that and be like, oh,
you
one
know.
time, like that's not. That's, Jamie Foxx is supposed to talk about that in 20 years.
So wait, what specifically are you talking about? Because I saw her outfit, but I don't know if I saw the bag.
Oh, okay, so the outfit was fire. Met Gala, she was a part of Tom Brown's shit, right? Like Tom Brown had everybody, Pusha T,
Carry
uh,
me in it,
SGA, like everybody was on point, right?
Rihanna.
Yeah, she had like the tweed shit, like everything was on point. Um, yeah, so I guess after at the after party, um, she's in like the Salma Hayek, what's the from Dusk Till Dawn, like
Hmm.
little bodysuit, Princess Leia looking like she's just like in some like interesting bikini situation on a bar doing like some like I'll keep it a bean. The dance wasn't fire, but she got nice
Oh,
skin, so
see it.
it's like the dance wasn't fire, but she stuck her tongue out and she sold it. If that's how she's giving it up, then I'm she's definitely a performer because the dance was not fire, but she sold that bug. She sold it, and it's like you know what? I always knew Janelle. I always knew. I always
You
knew.
know what? I'm gonna tell you
Ever since you
where
popped
it
up
did
on
it
that
for me.
Outcast.
You know what it did it for me? When she was doing all that stuff and with Outkast and she was wearing a lot of suits and shit. I always thought she was pretty, but I didn't think anything of it. You know, it was just suits, whatever, whatever. Good music, but whatever. Um, Moonlight, Moonlight.
Mm,
When I saw her in Moonlight, and she was like wearing like regular, not regular clothes. We understand what I mean, like jeans and shit. And I was
yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what was under the suits. I didn't
I
know. I was unfamiliar with your game. I
I
am
didn't know.
and then I was like, I'm a fan. I was already a fan. I was a fan. So ever
Yeah.
since
Hey,
then, she's been like turning up, like up. I was like,
shout out to
okay,
that
shout
woman.
out to her.
High five to her. Kiki
Yeah.
Palmer, post baby. Kiki Palmer is like, oh, oh. You know what? I
But
always knew. It's like certain ones you was playing the long game on. Certain ones you was just playing the long game. You was just sitting there, you was waiting. You was like, it's one day, Akila, you gonna be something special. And yeah,
we always think about what it does the child does to the woman's body. And I don't know if I've seen a better like transformation because she was already right. And
yeah,
then
she was straight.
I'm like I saw her in a cat suit, a leopard cat suit the other day, and then the dress she wore after the Met, like where she was going to the party, and I was like,
I had
something about
control
them
myself.
babies.
Control
I
yourself.
say,
Control
Alex,
yourself. Your girl's
I'm
gonna watch
like,
this.
yeah. I told Alex, I was like, what, that it pushes everything up, right? Everything is there. It's either a good bra
Hey.
or lactation. Shout out to shout out shout out to she went crazy. Who else was
uh,
some of my favorites? We can talk about my favorite. I wasn't really like I think everybody at Tom Brown looked great. I wasn't really the biggest fan of Push's thing. It was a little weird, but
yeah.
it was cool. Uh, Pretty much liked everybody black there. Like I posted almost everybody black. Carisha and
I
Diddy,
didn't. I
Wade,
didn't like
Wade and
either one of theirs.
you didn't like Carisha and Diddy?
Nah, like like did he just look like a anime villain? It was just like what, but
Yeah,
it's all. It was his take on like I guess that classic Chanel you know jacket with some extra shit going on, but it
yeah.
was
And
cool.
June helped him with it. June helped him with it
Yeah, so
on
that's
that one.
that's yeah, it's always tough when you see
And it
like
was
when
Sean
somebody that you
Sean
like.
John.
Well, there we go. So yeah, I can't mad at a nigga for wearing his own shit, and then of course the stylist is the legendary Janambro. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's not worth shitting on.
Um,
High five, y'all.
Holly looked good in Gucci. Holly
Man,
looked good.
man,
She's
I'll
she's
tell you right now.
she's turning the corner. She's turning the corner.
And that's the thing. It's like, so hers is definitely more subtle, but it's definitely like, oh, okay, all right, this is. I see you. It's like, all right. It's like one of those you like you look over and you say, I see you. I just a nice acknowledgement. You are seen.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to her. And they seem to like it more than they don't like her sisters, and maybe because it is more subtle.
Yeah.
But sometimes she'll pop out, and whoever styles them does a really good job. They always have really nice clothes,
I was
and
hoping
she
Meg
looked
was gonna
really
pop
nice.
out. I was hoping we
Would
were
have
gonna
been
see
nice.
some Meg. Oh,
She
Kendrick did not.
she
Kendrick,
can look.
Kendrick didn't walk the carpet, did he?
No, I saw him with was it with Jack Harlow? I think I saw him with Jack Harlow. Well, and I
Yeah,
think
it
they were
was
wearing Tommy. I think he was wearing Tommy. Oh,
man.
and that's also what Diggs was wearing. Stephon Diggs was wearing Tommy. He looked
Mm,
nice too.
everybody did good. It was kind of an easy one to do. A lot the references are there. Uh, a lot of stuff to pull from. So yeah, I think everybody for the most part was on theme and all right. Jared Leto did his normal like wild shit, which is I thought that shit was like very
And
Zoolanderish,
Doja,
but it was cool. And Doja. And the first words
Spider-Man
in
meme.
her interview, her first words in her interview were meow. So it's like, okay, cool. Thank you, Doja. Thank you. Never
Also,
change.
the first words from Lil Nas X. I think he purred or meowed as well.
Man, that dude. I'm t- like, bro, man, do your thing, man. he look
That's
like
Lil
the.
Nas X.
He look like the. I don't know if you. I've been watching baby movies. Trolls has this character that's like silver and glitter. It's like baby bling or something is his name, and he's just like glittery silver, and it's just like every time I see the little picture of Lil Nas X on the TL, I'm just like, this nigga look like that glittery troll, bro. But yeah, shout out to that man, man. He like what 21, 22, living the dream, bro.
Whatever the fuck he wants to, I appreciate it. And he does Twitter right. He does Twitter good.
Yeah,
So
yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
he does Twitter good. More shout outs. Shout out to Lamar Jackson, big money. Florida,
Pay,
a lot
pay,
of
pay,
money.
pay.
Betting on yourself that went well. Not quite the other way. So that's always good. Nothing really to say there. I did tell my stepdad. I have a group chat with my stepdad, my little brothers, and I was like, man, Lamar got his money. My stepdad's a Steeler fan. He's like, yeah, congratulations. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot you got to see him twice a year. That's unfortunate.
Sorry
Um,
for you.
do
Hey,
you guys
the
see
NFC
him?
South is
No
still
joke,
wide open,
bro.
I guess. NFC South is still wide open.
It probably will be that way for some time, unless Carolina just pops out of there and just goes crazy. We're
It's like,
strapped for
yeah,
cash. New Orleans is strapped for cash.
it means less when it's like, yeah, we're all gonna suck. Like there's nobody's actually looking like anything. It's not wide open because we're all just like contenders. We all stink.
Might be the worst division in football, but that means we got a shot. Eight and nine will get you in there, baby. Eight and
There
nine
we
will get you in
go.
there.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So there's that. All right. So I think it's Well, I don't necessarily want to go too sad, but okay. This is one that I think will get some good stuff out of people.
All
So
right.
we were talking draft. Deon Sanders tweeted, and I actually had some choice words about this on Instagram. But Deon Sanders tweeted that he was ashamed that only one HBCU player got drafted, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I Deon so uh all right. So where am I gonna start with this?
Because we try to
So
try
Chris,
to be as nice as possible.
Christianity. This is where I'm gonna start, right? All right.
Okay.
So obviously, there's a lot of good things, obviously, and then there's some bad things, obviously, just like
Uh-huh.
everything, right? So where I would go with this is where it's unfortunate is a lot of times people will throw God in things to take away their responsibility to a particular situation, right? So for Dion, when he left, he said that. Well, I'm sorry, when he came, God told him that he needed to teach these guys how to be men,
Mhm.
win, stuff like that. And obviously there's no way you can argue with that. Like that sounds amazing, right?
Right.
Also, it told him to leave his mission early. God told him to leave his mission early to go to PWI because they need help too. Okay, maybe I hear you. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So you were there. One guy from your team got drafted. You also took some guys with you. So there probably was more draft eligible guys that were
Mm,
there, but now they transferred to, or they could have been there and they transferred to, Colorado. So you took them, you molded them, then took them to where you were going, which, look, I know people have their arguments about whether or not he could do this or not. Every coach does it. The only part that makes it yucky is that when you throw God into it and tell us that this was God's plan. So that means we got to hold you to this, that this is God's plan too. So what
right.
I said was maybe this wasn't in the plans, or maybe this was God's plan. Maybe it was God's plan to only draft one HBCU student, and you could have probably changed it. Maybe God could have steered you that way to do the right thing. And look, I'm not totally against the move. I'm just against you not taking responsibility for it. Like it was you.
Bingo.
And
Bingo.
maybe it was God. Maybe part of it was God. I'm saying, but it was you, and you had to do whatever you had to do. I'm not faulting you for that, but yeah, I mean, right message, wrong messenger. Like, yeah, Dion, I think you had your hand in this, unfortunately, and I
E-
would hope that more people would get there, but who knows?
Yeah, right. It's like that's literally the whole point of you being there is to get the eyes on the talent. That's the whole point. Build a winning program, get the eyes on the talent, give these boys, these men opportunities that they haven't had or may not have elsewhere, while also building up, you know, the HBCU programs, which desperately need help. It's the same thing as, why we say we need to spend money with black businesses because we are what, $1 trillion. Basically, black people are $1 trillion country. Like we,
Spending power, yeah.
so it's like, if we are fueling all of these industries, if we're over what 60-70% of the NFL, similar demographics for the NBA, what would that mean if we could start getting some commitments to HBCUs? That would mean that those NIL deals would go there. Of course, we had to fight to get NIL deals, but being able to have them at those schools, of course, it doesn't necessarily mean that they would be, some of them I know would be, you know, funded by the families or whatever else, like the alumni, you had those issues. But wouldn't you have a larger alumni base to pull from and get this money that we needed if the talent went there that also then went to the NBA and got these $1 million contracts, went to the NFL and got these $1 million contracts? that went there to these law. They can build out these law programs so that these guys can start becoming the lawyers for these guys and the agents for these guys. It's supposed to be a whole system that works together. So you pulled yourself for what you said. God had you pull yourself and then pull the talent. So you went there, showed the guys how to win, pulled the winning guys, so gutted the culture, and now we're once again blaming the NFL for being the NFL. It doesn't make any sense. We were supposed to be the change that we wanted to see, but once again, if God tells you to do not be the change you wish to see, then I guess I don't know. My thing is, that's one of those things where it's just like maybe we not, maybe God talked to him directly. To me, I gotta like try to read the Bible about to get instruction. The Bible don't move like that. I'll just keep it a being. That's not that's not aligned. The Bible says let your yes be a yes and your no be a no. And to me, it seems like in the middle of his tenure, in the middle of his mission, he said no. And this is like okay,
Blamed it
cool,
on God.
yeah.
God's up here like, hey, I ain't say nothing like that.
It's really weird. And the Bible is split into two parts. One part is focusing on Israel, it's focusing on his people. The other part is focusing on the message for everybody. It's focusing on, hey, the mission has been completed, the prophecy has been completed, so now we can start working on everybody. The mission wasn't completed. If we're just bringing this to, like once again, you brought God into it, so let's actually bring God into it. The mission wasn't completed. Bottom line, it just doesn't. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's using you as like a bad example. I don't know. But we all have bad taste in our mouth. So I don't. That's not. I don't know. It's not giving what it was supposed to give, to quote Santana.
Yeah,
So
yes, it's easy to shift the blame, um, and I think that's similar to like the Dillon Brooks thing, where it's like, man, look, if you just come out here and just be like, whatever, whatever, I mean, we kind of already expected this from Deon, and I'm not really one that's going to be like, man, Deon doing some selfish shit, like whatever, everybody's done it, but we're
right,
kind of expecting it. So like, but then when you get up there and do that, it's like it's tough to criticize that, like
it's
what.
literally you're skating the criticism about throwing God into it.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be the one to say it, but I will say this: it's convenient when the decision is where it, like God seems to always be aligned with where you're going, like every single time. Like there was no sign that said just finish the contract out. That wasn't the sign at all. Like I don't know, but I mean the Pac-12 is a lot harder than where he was at. So like,
He's got his work cut out. And guess what? Dion is not wrong. It is odd or off for the NFL to have only have one draftee from the HBCU. Um, it's just odd for him to be the one to point it out.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
And I will say this. This is where it also gets a little bit tricky. So, and this is where I get to kind of the philosophy bag where it's like, all right, there's more than one way to make it to the NFL. And the draft is probably a little bit weird anyways, the fact that this is the only professional sports ends up being the only job that the only time you enter the job force and they tell you where to go and how much you can get paid for the most part. And that doesn't really work. Like if you were the best at your position, whatever your position was, you could write your own ticket. You could live wherever you want to live and you could pretty much get paid however you want to get paid.
right.
Whereas in the NFL, you're slotted in a particular place depending on where you get drafted, right? So I don't know if being drafted as a seventh round pick is better than being undrafted because when you're undrafted, you can get a higher signing bonus. You can get to that second contract better. Now, obviously, you got to make the
Mm,
team, but because you get drafted seventh round doesn't mean that you're guaranteed a
make sure you're making the
roster spot
team.
over it. But to be fair, anything less than a fourth round pick is not even. I remember the Buccaneers signed. We drafted. I forget the guy, but he came from LA. He was one of Snoop Dogg's kids. And he was a running back and he didn't make the team. He was like a maybe a fourth or a third or something. He didn't make the team, and he ended up having some success, I think, with Tennessee. But but at the end of the day, like your spot is not guaranteed. So there was more HBCU athletes that were signed
Right.
and that are going to be invited to training camp that are literally in the same position as a lower draft pick. So
Right.
to be fair, they're able to choose what team they want to go to because they're going to get offers to come to training camp and they can literally choose their team, which is fair, and they can get paid more. So, granted, the draft is like it's like a Grammy, like we
Mm,
understand like the situation or an Oscar or something. Like we've kind of got a different metric on what is success to us as whatever position you're in,
right.
though the what's based off prestigious and just what we've done forever, just it's that particular trophy. But now it's like it means everything to you or it means nothing to you. So the draft, that is one way to get to the league, but there's been plenty of
Yeah.
successful undrafted players, and a lot of them are going to end up being HBCU athletes. So I think them getting invited to a training camp, to me personally, um, is the same as being drafted in a lower round. So maybe that, but Twitter is not about nuance. It's about sensationalism, and it just
At
looks
all.
good when you when you just say, "Hey, niggas didn't get drafted," but then it's like, yeah, but there's like 30 guys from HBCUs that are gonna be in
On
NFL locker
spots.
rooms,
Yeah.
so like whether or not they make the team or not, they're gonna get some tape out there. They're gonna get a jersey, and they can make a practice squad, which could, depending on the situation, make a roster
That's
or
actually
just flat out be someone.
That's actually a really good point. That being undrafted may be um, better at times than getting drafted because you have that freedom to be able to maneuver your contract however you want. So if you have an agent or you're just able to negotiate, um, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. I haven't actually seen anybody bring that point up. That's a
And
great point.
not just the money part, but the location. Like,
Yeah, you
do you
pick
really
it.
want to go to Buffalo? Like, do you want to go to Buffalo? Like, seriously? Like, do you want to get money and go to Buffalo? Or do you want
Right.
to go to Miami, or do you want to go to Chicago or LA or these or Tampa
No, that's
maybe,
real.
depending
That's
on.
real.
So like you get to write your own ticket for the first time unless you get to make it to your second contract. Then at that point you could, you're good enough, you get to choose. But these players don't get to choose. If you're a good player, you're probably going to go to a trash city and a trash team because that's just the nature of how the draft works. I mean, the first pick went to Charlotte, and I got family in North Carolina, and I got a buddy that's from Charlotte. So this is not me shitting on Charlotte. However, you know how you feel about Charlotte. And I got family in the Triangle, and Raleigh and Cary and Fayetteville,
Oh
and they got
man.
excited when they got Publix. Saying like you could probably name three Publixes off the top of your head
That's facts.
in Atlanta, and you could probably name five Publixes off the top of your head in Tampa. So like,
Damn it, man.
listen, you where you want to go? You want to go to Charlotte? No, no, hell. And then the number two pick got drafted and went to Houston, and I can't think of a better place to be as a millionaire, and you get to go to Houston. Because
It's
I went to
up.
Houston one time.
It's up.
I went to Houston
As a
one
millionaire,
time,
or
and
as a millionaire, or just
I was poor.
and still
Like
had a
I was
time.
like
Still had it.
a lot of Meg's cousins out there, a lot of Beyonce cousins out there, hefty, a lot of hefty cousins, and
Yes,
they really wear
sir.
cowboy hats. So think about just hefty people in cowboy hats and boots and southern accents. You could rob me out of all my money if you have a southern accent. To be honest,
God
like if you're from
damn.
Louisiana and you talk to me, I'm about to ask you how much your phone bill is.
Yeah,
Because
yeah. See that? I see now. I can only hear like Kevin Gates stuff, so it kind of messed me up. Like it kind of messed me up. You got one time to say
have you ever
Woody.
been? Have you been to New Orleans?
Not as an adult, but I've heard amazing things. Though. I've heard great things.
New Orleans is a place that Bomani Jones mentioned that he said it would be the most beautiful place in the world if it wasn't the ugliest. Like it's got the yin and yang, like those it's got some pockets in there that's like scary, but then the beautiful parts of New Orleans, it's like, man, a lot of southern people, great
Yeah.
accents, great food. New Orleans is a place that I would go once a year. My dad actually, I was eating lunch with my dad earlier last week, and he's like he had texted me earlier and he was like, "Hey, what do you got anything planned for May? Like any trips?" I'm like,
Right.
"No, I'm chilling. I'm sitting down." He's like, "Oh, okay. You know, I was just talking to your brother, one of my younger brothers, but he's an adult. But yeah, I was just talking to your brother. We was trying to make a trip to New Orleans." And I was like, "Oh, I mean, I was sitting down, but like we could go to Louisiana. Like, it's an hour flight. We get out there. I don't mind that. And I love Cajun food. So if you get the chance and you're in Atlanta, so that's
Yeah,
probably gonna be like a
it's
50-minute flight.
right. It's quick. It's
Get,
quick.
get there, stay in the French Quarter, walk around, make sure you have some cash so you can go to Cafe Du Monde because they only do cash there. Get you your three beignets and your cafe au lait. There's another place. It's called New Orleans Po' Boys. It's right around the corner. They do a spicy alligator po' boy. Sheesh.
Yes, sir.
Two things I ate when I got off the plane. I went to New Orleans Po' Boys, got that, and then walked over
Yeah.
to get big ones. It's open 24 hours. The Cafe Du Monde is old as hell. It's
It's
prestigious,
24 hours?
and it doesn't close.
What the fuck? I never knew that.
And
It's like that
it
all
was
the
a
time?
and there's a line out the door. We got there at midnight, and like I hate lines, and Alex knows I hate lines. So she looking at me, and she's like, "I know this nigga's gonna say we're not gonna stay." I was like, "Whatever, we're in New Orleans, whatever, whatever." And the line went by fast. You know, it went very fast because you're everyone's ordering the same shit. So it's $5. Here's your three. It's just really fast, and
Damn it,
it's
man.
a beautiful. And there was a woman that when we were at the counter. This is the last story I'll give you since we're getting up on time. But um, we were getting a rental car, and there was a woman there. It was this beautiful light skinned lady, bigger lady, but pretty. And as soon
Yeah.
as she opened her mouth, it was what you would think. And like I'm mesmerized, like Jesus Christ. And so and I'm like I'm like, Alex, you hear this woman talk? And she's like, relax. And I'm like, but do you hear her talk though? And then so she's telling us like all the places that we need to go to. So then when we're
Yeah.
dropping our car off, so we pass by and she's working again. This is like 3 days later. And she yells, she sees us, and Alex is holding a Cafe Du Monde bag, and she sees us, and she yells across the fucking concourse or whatever in her New Orleans accent. Alex throws her bag up in the air so she can see,
Right.
and they start going back and forth, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, this is
That
a beautiful place. this is this
I
is a
gotta get
beautiful
out there.
place. Shout out to fucking New Orleans. Maybe back, maybe sometime if I can squeeze some time in,
You know,
I'll get
we're,
there.
we're going we're going to the Houston Renaissance Tour show. So that's wifey's birthday, so we might make a thing out of it and just hit that whole south, central west situation. Like you might hit that whole might hit that.
Where are you gonna drive?
Um Probably not. I think we're gonna fly. But if is it drivable? Is it like
From Atlanta, you hit I-10 and go over it. I mean, I drove to New Orleans. It was like 8.5 hours, I think. You
that's
fly
okay?
through Alabama, fly through Mississippi, get there. But I will say this: Beyonce and Destiny Child they don't have a restaurant, but it's like a place that they've eaten at. It's called This Is It, and it's Southern food.
Mm,
Crazy. It looks a little shaky, a little shaky
yeah.
area, but it's like a little strip mall. And I walked in there and I got this ridiculous plate of food. I'm pretty sure it was only $12 and really, really sweet iced tea. And yeah, Houston's a
Yeah,
really pretty place too.
I gotta get down
Ma- Massive place. Yeah, yeah, massive place. But
there.
I don't know if there's anything else. I mean there's some other things, but I guess we'll have to get to some of these later.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
Great episode 8. Please still sub. Please still like. Please give 5 stars. Nothing less than that. Don't do
None less
4.
than five. None less than
That's
five.
stupid. Just 5, and then we will be back again next week.
Yes, sir. Well,